Here are 7 reasons why you feel empty right now, even though you might have it all on paper, even though you might have a successful life, what looks like a successful life on paper. I've got 7 reasons for you. Number 7, make sure you stick around for that because that's going to tie together all the other reasons. I'm going to tell you what it is and how to do about it, what to do about it so you can stop feeling empty and start feeling truly happy, healthy, alive, and fulfilled. My name is John Wood. I am the founder of Rage Out, where I teach people how to regulate their nervous system. So let's get into it. Number 1 is there is a lack of purpose in your life, right? So that just means you're not doing something that you actually give a shit about. And this is something I struggled with for a long time. I was looking for something that I could do that I actually cared about, that I thought was worthwhile, that when I get to, when I'm about to die, I'm like, man, I'm glad I did that. Instead of, say, selling something or working on something, I'm like, this is pointless. Like, I don't care at all about this thing. I'll do it because I need to make money and eat, but I don't actually care about the bigger picture of it. There's no sense of purpose behind it. And some people poo-poo this idea that you don't need purpose, but as someone who's sort of stumbled into a sense of purpose with Rage Out, what I'm doing now, I can tell you that it is an amazing way to bring in a sense of a deeper fulfillment into your life, to actually do something. Maybe it could be your work, it could be working at a homeless shelter. I don't know, like there's just got to be some sense of purpose in your life, or I don't think you're going to feel very fulfilled or happy. It's just how it is. Number 2 is a lack of joy or passion in your life. I'm talking about like just stuff that you enjoy, whether it's like, right now for me, I'm reading Harry Potter in Spanish. I love it. Couldn't tell you exactly why. I can give you stories and stuff, but is that really it? I just get such a kick out of reading a different book, a book in a different language to what I grew up with. It's such a trip for me. I love it. It gives me joy. And I think some people don't really have that. They don't have something in their life that they really, really enjoy, whether it's a hobby. It can be your work. And if it's your work, great, but it doesn't have to be. So again, that's another thing. Purpose, passion, or joy, we could call that different things, but just something where you're like, oh, I feel so good to do this. I feel great doing this. I really enjoy this. You want to find something and have a bit of that in your life. Okay, that's reason number 2 why you feel empty right now. Reason number 3 is a lack of community, connection. People, great people, good friends, whether it's family, jiu-jitsu classes, CrossFit, we have to, it's like we're built as humans. We're built for connection. We're built for community. And I think when we don't have that, we feel empty. We feel like something's missing. And, I remember a few years ago, I was living in Thailand and I went out for a walk with a friend and we started these Wednesday walk and talks, we call them. We'd go for a meet up on Wednesday at like 7 a.m., grab a coffee and go walking through the university in this place called Chiang Mai. And the first time we did it, it was just a once off, it was meant to be. I got home and I felt I was like buzzing. I was like, I feel like I just met some need inside me for connection, for community. And so it became a weekly thing. And since then, I've really made a point of cultivating that kind of a thing. Even if, I wouldn't say I'm super extroverted. I'm not a massive introvert either. I'm somewhere in the middle. But even introverts, having a deep and meaningful, having a conversation with someone that you love. I think everyone needs this. And if you're missing connection and community, you're probably going to feel kind of empty, like something's not right. And that you can get this all kinds of places. I don't think there's really any excuse. You can call up a friend, a long lost friend, and chat to them for an hour. You can go do a CrossFit or jiu-jitsu. I've been doing jiu-jitsu at the moment. You can do so many different things to go and meet people. Go to a library if you're an introvert. I don't know, go to some book reading, book club or something like that. There's always ways. And when people tell me, oh, you're so lucky, you've got these friends, you talk to them every week. And I'm like, yeah, because I did it because I put the work in and the time. So I don't really think there's any excuse here. There's so many options, especially with the internet now to meet people. And so yeah, that's reason number 3 why you might feel empty right now. Reason number 4 is a lack of self-compassion. And you could just boil this down to being hard on yourself. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. I've had to learn this the hard way and to kind of go, okay, it's okay. I don't have to be perfect. I can make mistakes. I can do things and fuck it up and it's going to be okay. It doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. And this is something that, comes with time, depending on the different practices you learn with, but it really helps to just be kind to yourself, to go easy on yourself sometimes. There's a time to push through and do the hard thing. But there's also a time to give yourself a pat on the back and be like, good job, bro. Good job, man. you're doing good. And so I don't have like the exact recipe for developing that other than to live your life and ask God, whoever, spirit, I don't know, the universe, friends, someone to teach you what that looks like. Okay. Reason number 5, which really ties into self-compassion as well, is emotional intelligence. If you're always in your head and you never feel what's happening down here in your body, you're always going to feel like something's missing. That's just how it is. How could you get through? How could you not feel like something's missing if you're literally ignoring, I don't know how much the body makes up. Let's say it's 50%. If you ignore your body, which is ignoring your sensations, your feelings, your emotions, if you ignore that, pretend it doesn't exist like a lot of people do in Western society, you're basically living with 50% of yourself or more offline. So how could you not feel empty or depressed or like something's missing? Because something is missing. And I would say this is really emotional intelligence. He's learning it's not just a mind thing of, oh, I'm angry. It's, can you feel it in your body? Do you know what it means when you feel it? How do you deal with it? How do you express it? How do you work with it? Again, that takes time, and that's emotional intelligence. But if you don't have that, if you're ignoring that because emotions are soft and weak and submissive and all that sort of stuff, guys don't cry, whatever it is, women don't get angry, the different things we tell ourselves about emotion, you're going to be missing a huge part of the human experience. And you're going to feel empty because you are empty without that. Somewhat empty. You're missing a huge piece of who you are if you don't learn how to take care of that stuff. Okay. Number 6 is a lack of authenticity. Now, this is a bit of a buzzword. This is a bit of like a trite, trivial thing that people say a lot. Be yourself. But what really is authenticity? And it is, I'd say, being yourself. But who are you? Do you know who you are? Like, what does it mean when you are authentic? When you are yourself, what does that even look like? Is this something you can, read a book about and think about, okay, this is who I want to be, I'm going to be that person. Is that authenticity? Or is authenticity something else? Now, that's a huge topic, something that I'm not going to go too deep into in this video, but I would say that authenticity is largely just being who you are in this moment. If you're insecure right now, then you're insecure right now. That's authentic. You can tell that to someone. You don't really have to. You just have to feel it. This ties into emotional intelligence. This ties into all this stuff. Everything I've mentioned, which I'm going to get to in a second with number 7. But all these things are really the same problem. They just manifest in different ways. They express themselves in different ways. They're different symptoms, we might say, of feeling empty. But it's really all the same issue, which is number 7 in a second. But authenticity, I would say, is like, right now, if I was to be, just tell you what's going on, I'm like, okay, I feel a bit shy. I'm on video, a bit insecure. I'm like, what are people going to think about this? Are they going to like it? Are they going to watch this far in the video, or have they gone off to watch some cat videos or something? I'm wearing this shirt. It's got some bleach. I think I spilled some bleach on it one day. So I'm like, man, are these people on the other side going to judge me for wearing this green shirt? My eyes are a little bit sore right now. I don't know if that means I'm tired. So a lot of this being authentic is just being with and as you are in this moment. And that's where, like to say, the lack of purpose comes in, like doing something that you believe in. That's authentic. Doing something that you don't give a shit about, it's not very authentic. You have to go to work and pretend you care about this thing when you don't. That's not authentic, right? If you lack emotional intelligence and what your body really wants to do is have a good cry. I'm speaking to the dudes as well as the girls. And you really want to cry, but you're like, no, I can't do that. Crying's weak. I don't need to do that right now. That's for soft people. I'm just going to keep. That's not authentic. And so much of authenticity is your body, right? Is learning to feel what's really happening and to be with that instead of trying to be something other than what you are, right? And this all starts back in, it's a huge topic. I could go down such a rabbit hole with this. This starts in childhood though, right? As kids are totally authentic. They want to scream, they scream. They want to cry, they cry. Babies especially, right? But somewhere along the line, we learn, hey, it's not safe to be ourselves. It's not safe to just be as we are. We learn that to get mom and dad's love, to get the love and validation of the people at school, teachers, whoever, bullies, to get all of that, we have to subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, change who we are. Instead of screaming and raging and being angry, we have to be the good little person who sits up, nice at the dinner table, has good manners. Well, what we want to do is turn the table over. And so we learn over time, we create this like false self, and that's who we think we are. But really who we actually are is who we were before that bullshit false self. It's really like a set of survival mechanisms, safety mechanisms. Before that got created, who were we? Who were you before you learned that you had to be someone else? That's what authenticity is. And so much of this journey of not feeling empty anymore, of getting to a point of wholeness in yourself, is getting past all that bullshit, all the stories about who you think you need to be, who you feel like you need to be to get the love, the connection, the resources that you think you need, right? And I've done this in my last relationship, right? When I was dating this chick, she would say in the beginning, she's like, "Do you ever get angry?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm just not an angry person, because I didn't. I never really got angry. Yeah, a little bit snappy at people on the road if I'm riding my motorbike in Thailand. I was in Thailand at the time. Now I'm in Peru, but so I'd snap a little bit. I'd get a little bit angry, like a bit annoyed, but I would never explode. I would never yell. I would never be like, "I'm really, really angry right now. We need to talk." That was just not me, right? And I thought that was me. And it took me 3 or 4 years when I suddenly realized, due to some different practices, which I'll share soon, that I actually I had a lot of anger, just like everyone. We're people, we're human beings, we live on this planet, bad things happen, we get angry. It's natural, it's normal. I know that now. But at the time, I didn't realize this. I was doing this unconsciously. I was stuffing all that stuff down. Until one day, you put enough air into a balloon, eventually it pops. So eventually that anger in me eventually came bubbling up and out. And I realized that I absolutely had anger. I had rage, depending on what was going on in my life. And holding that inside, telling myself that I'm just not an angry person, was a survival mechanism that I understand came from when I was a kid, when it wasn't safe for me to be angry. I couldn't express that anger, towards my parents because they're bigger, they're stronger. If I get angry with them and scream at them, they might kick me out. I don't know this. They might kick me out at 3 years old. How do I know? I'm 3 years old. I don't know any better. And so as kids, we learn to hold our various emotions in, our authenticity inside. And that's where that false self comes from. I'm just not an angry person. So that's authenticity, right? 7, that's reason number 6, why you might feel empty despite maybe having a really good life on paper. Right, so just to go through the 6 reasons, and then I'll get to 7, which is what ties all of these reasons together. So reason 1 is a lack of purpose, right? You're not doing anything you believe in. Reason number 2 why you feel empty is a lack of joy or passion, something you enjoy in your life, at least one thing. Reason number 3 is a lack of community and connection. Great people. Community, connection, can be your family, can be friends. Reason number 4 is a lack of self-compassion, just being easy, like not being nice to yourself. Going to the gym, sure, but also being like, "Hey, man, it's okay. I got you. You're doing great. Even when you fuck it up, it's okay." Reason number 5 is a lack of emotional intelligence, which is really just a lack of, you're not aware of your emotions. You don't feel anything. You spend your entire days and nights inside this thing. Reason number 6 is a lack of authenticity, which again, we talked about is not being honest with yourself, first and foremost, about what you're really feeling. And as you can see, all these things connect in together. If you're not able to feel your emotions, right? If you're not able to be authentically connected to who you are, to what you're feeling, it's going to be kind of hard to find your purpose. Because you're not going to be able to feel when you are on purpose. You're not going to be able to feel when you are enjoying something, truly enjoying something. Right? I'm not just talking about dopamine scrolling on Instagram. I wouldn't say that's not the joy I'm talking about. Video games, maybe. I'm talking about the joy that comes just doing something you love, that's fulfilling. It doesn't wear you out. So all these things are really the same thing. And that's reason number 7, why you might feel empty, why you feel empty, even though your life might be really good on paper. It's very common. And that is nervous system dysregulation. Now, what this means in simple terms, one really simple way to think about nervous system dysregulation is that one way it can manifest is that you've cut yourself off from feeling, right? So there is this split between the mind and the body. We forget that the body even exists, our sensations, our feelings, our emotions, and we live entirely in our heads. Very, very common in the Western world right now. It's really nervous system dysregulation. It's obviously the opposite of regulation. Regulation, order, things are working as intended. Dysregulation, it's chaos, right? So this is talking about our survival physiology. So we all know fight and flight. There's a threat, danger, nervous system activates so we can run away or we can fight the attacker off. If that doesn't work, we freeze, we shut down, we go into the tonic immobility, the whole body goes into shock. And then there's sort of, nuance here where you've got functional freeze, which is someone who has some amount of that shutdown in place, but they can still work and make money and live their life. So that would be like a functional freeze. Functional in the sense that they can still live their life, but they're actually still really shut down, right? And like I said, what this means as far as the experience of it, for a lot of people, it seems they sort of one or the other. You can be totally out of control emotionally, like totally overwhelmed by your various feelings, totally stuck in emotions. We all know people like that who are controlled and dominated by what they're feeling. And then on the other extreme, you have people who don't feel anything at all, that was sort of more how it manifested for me. All right. And then within that, you've got people who are, quite anxious, which we would say they're pretty high on this arousal or activation curve of the nervous system. Someone who's depressed would be stuck down the bottom. What we want is flow. We want to be able to get, we got baseline in the middle, which is say, true regulation, relaxation, healthy. And, as the need arises, we want to be able to go up and down. So we want to go up into activation, fear, shame, all the different emotions, anger, and then come back down. Right? And then if we need to freeze sometimes too, if we're in great pain, we need to go into shock, but then we want to come back out of it. Now, what nervous system dysregulation means is we get stuck somewhere. Like we kind of get stuck up here or stuck down there, and we can never really find this true, they call it ventral vagal regulation in our nervous system. And like I said, what this means is that we largely either feel way too much, our emotions are chaos, or we don't feel anything at all. Either way, you know what this means? That now we're not going to be able to find a sense of purpose, right? A sense of joy. It's going to be hard to connect with people, right? Because we're so disconnected from ourselves. How are we going to connect with other people, right? We're going to lack self-compassion because we're going to judge ourselves for the things we're feeling or not feeling. There'll be a lack of emotional intelligence, right? Because we're cut off from what we're really feeling. That's what we have to do to manage the feelings. There's a lack of authenticity because we don't even know what we're feeling. So all these reasons why you feel empty that I've mentioned in this video can actually be traced back to nervous system dysregulation. And that's why when someone tells me, hey man, I feel empty. Life is great on paper. I have all kinds of cool stuff. I have everything I thought I needed to be happy and I still feel empty. I know that most of the time, maybe all of the time, the problem is that their nervous system is dysregulated. So then you have a choice now. You can either try and find your purpose with your head. You can try and find your joy, your passion, some self-compassion with your head, with thoughts, with journaling and gratitude lists and all the different self-help techniques that people recommend. Or you can learn how to regulate your nervous system. Okay, and that really is about, number one, education, learning about the mechanics of your survival physiology, how your nervous system works, why it goes up into survival mode, why it comes down into freeze, fight, flight, freeze, all these things. You can learn about the education of it so you understand what's actually happening inside you. I've given it a very brief, I've touched on it briefly in this video, but there's a rabbit hole here for you that's waiting. Number two, learn how to follow your impulse. So that means, when you go to the bathroom, you don't go because you had a thought about it. It's probably because you had a feeling. Same with hunger, same with sleep, same with thirst. You do it when you have a feeling. So you're following a felt impulse. So if you can learn to do it with that, then you can learn to do it with more subtle things like, where do you feel your sense of purpose is? What feels fulfilling to you, right? What do you feel your body wants to do right now? How does it want to move? Right, so now we're starting to tap into purpose, joy, passion, authenticity, emotional intelligence, self-compassion. All right, so all these reasons why you feel empty start to dissolve as you understand this, as you understand how your nervous system works and start following your impulse. And three is you need some techniques for dealing with stress and emotion as they come up. If you have like rage, primal rage that literally wants to kill, because that's what that energy is when it's very intense, how do you deal with that in a way that doesn't hurt yourself or someone else? Because there's plenty of examples of people with, anger that is absolutely out of control. It's destructive. But there are actually some very useful and healthy and constructive ways of dealing with anger, with sadness, with fear, with shame. So you don't have to be afraid of it. And that's really step three, the techniques for doing that, for learning how to feel, learning how to express, learning how to manage and reclaim all that stuck stuff, the emotion that's inside you. Because that's really what You want to talk about what causes this dysregulation? It's like I said, you're a kid, you get angry, or you feel angry, but it's not safe to express it to your parents because you don't know how they're going to react, depending on the parents we've had. So then you hold it inside. And we've just had a lifetime of that, of holding all these different emotions inside. And as a result, we're so out of touch with what we're really feeling. And that's why we have all these reasons why we feel empty. And so you don't think this is just a nice idea or an intellectual idea that I've read about. This is actually what happened with me. I had all of these symptoms. I was feeling empty. I thought I had everything on paper that I thought I needed to be happy, yet I still felt empty, like something was missing. I could not shake the feeling. My friends didn't get it. Like, I'm like, I know my life is good, but something's missing, And I tried all the things people do: meditation, gratitude list, journaling, ice baths and breath work and psychedelics and life coaching and therapy, all kinds of things to try and fix that. And it all helped to some degree, helped me stop from sinking or drowning. But the thing that really worked, the thing that solved this problem for me and continues to bring so much meaning and joy and purpose into my life. That's why I'm here making this video, because I believe in this. There is such a sense of purpose in this. Was getting into the world of nervous system healing, nervous system regulation, learning the things that I'm trying to explain to you, educating myself on the mechanics of my survival physiology, learning how to follow my impulse, learning how to work with emotions and stress and survival energy as it comes up to express. That changed everything for me, and I'm happy to say that I no longer feel that emptiness, that sense that something is missing all those years ago. Okay? So if you'd like to learn more about how it works, this is just a short video. If you want to learn more about how it works, you can go to rageheart.co, not .com, it's like Braveheart, but rageheart.co/free, and you can download a free guided exercise where I teach you how to do this. That'll give you a taste on how this works, and then you can decide if you want to go further. There'll be a link in the description as well. Click that. You can get the free exercise, and let's get started. So you no longer feel empty and instead feel truly happy, alive, fulfilled, and whole.